We're good. We're good. We're good. I'm starting. Where are we at here? Yep. Thank you. And we greet you on this sunny Thursday in October at the Regional Training Center in Virginia Beach. Thanks to Eli and Garrett, who will be showing you the action today as we've got the Cox Falcons, a perennial power in Virginia Beach, coming off a tough triple overtime loss to their rival First Colonial earlier this week, taking on the Kempsville Chiefs, who look to be a factor in this Region 5A playoff race, where certainly Cox has cemented itself as a favorite year in and year out. But we are streaming today on our Virginia Beach Sportsplex YouTube channel and beachsportsplex.com. Glad you are tuned in. Matt Hatfield here with you, and our game today is brought to you by Vault Athletics and Fitness, Hampton Roads' newest 13,000 square foot facility located in the Hilltop section of Virginia Beach, where they specialize in youth athlete development, personal training, small group training, and specialty fitness classes. Vault Athletics and Fitness. As we mentioned, Cox Falcons, who have got the record for Virginia High School League state championships. Nobody's won more than them, led by Coach Taylor Roundtree. Their program, all 5 consecutive state championships at the Class 5 level. They've won 24 as a program, and while they have won the last 5 titles, did suffer a defeat. They had one up in Jersey in that big event up there to North Hunterdon. Also, Norfolk Academy defeated them 5-1 back on the 27th of September. In our latest field hockey top 10 rankings, which we bring you each and every week on our podcast that hit the Virginia Beach Sportsplex YouTube channel on Tuesday. And if you missed that, it's up on our Facebook page. It's up on virginiapreps.com. It's also up on X or Twitter at 757 Sports Talk. Falcons came in at 8-2-1 to that matchup. They're now on the season at 8-3-1. Meanwhile, for the Kempsville Chiefs and their program, and they're certainly getting better and better, it feels like, from early in the season. And Amber Jones, the head coach of the Chiefs, who are wearing the blue uniforms today, as we're getting ready to start this matchup. So far on the year, got a big win the other day over Grassfield on Monday. In fact, it was a nice 2-1 decision for the Chiefs in that contest. Cameron Butler had a couple of goals for them back on October the 9th in that 2-1 doubling up of the Grizzlies, who were a top 10 team last week in our rankings. Grassfield has knocked off Great Bridge this season. Great Bridge played a scoreless draw on Wednesday with Southeastern District rival Nansman River, game that was called with 4 minutes to go due to some darkness. But Kempsville on the year looking to be a factor in this race, and they enter this matchup unofficially because we see a couple of different records for them, but we're going to unofficially say we have them now at 7-2 overall, and hopefully somebody can verify that for us out there as we are underway here with the Falcons and the Chiefs. And we'll give you the jersey numbers we've got for these two teams here in just a moment. Let's start off first with Kempsville as we watch Cox in the white uniforms, and they're going to work quickly. Number 17 for them, by the way, is Bellateri, and they make the pass near midfield, received by number 1, and that's Joey Savino. Want to keep an eye on Sophia Birch, number 2 for them, as well as Megan Spear. Megan Spear wearing number 3. And since I'm just giving you the Cox numbers, I'll just give you their roster first before we give you the Chiefs, as that one is passed up ahead to Lena Harkin. And now Cox rolling closer towards the net, but Kempsville able to come up with the stop. So let's give you the names for the Cox Falcons under Coach Taylor Roundtree, since we have that now. We mentioned number 1 is Joey Savino, 2 Sophia Birch, 3 Megan Spear, who's headed to Dartmouth. Number 4 is Emily Tromley. You have also number 5, Irma Bailey. Number 7 is Rose Holland. Number 8, Lena Harkin, as we mentioned. Number 11, Mac Dare. Number 14, Adelie Booth. Number 17, Bellateri. And then 2 we went out of numerical order, but this off a score sheet we had recently here at the training center. 6 is Ava Amuel, and 9, Reagan Cho. So that is the uniform lineup for the Cox Falcons. And then now for the Kempsville Chiefs, we'll give it to you in numerical order. We've got Zoe Hernandez, number 1. Natalie Cornstable, number 4. Kendall Lovett wears number 5. 6 is Hannah Williams. 7, Brooke Rediger. 8, Kira Samus. 9, Cameron Butler, as we mentioned, already has a multi-goal game as recent as 3 days ago. 10 is Grace Homer. 11, Gabby McGinty. 12, Kendra Mahan. 13, Josie Scott. 14, Carly Edwards. 16, Aaron Sutton. Morgan Fentner donned 17, wearing 18 is Maddie Acosta. 19, Alyssa Araujo. 20, Claire Scully. Sarah Joy Senzone wears 25, and Olivia Wintrode 99. That the roster for Amber Jones's Kempsville Chiefs, who again are wearing the blue unis. Cox in the white. Working it from left to right today. Very sunny, warm Thursday. Seasonably warm day in Virginia Beach here in October. 72 degrees right now. Sun expected to set around 6:32 Eastern tonight. And a very slight wind of just 4 miles per hour. So the weather forecast is out of the way. And now we watched Kempsville trying to dig out of their own attacking third area. Good pass there as it was nudged over to number 13 and Josie Scott. Quite a matchup it was on Tuesday with First Colonial and Cox. It went to triple overtime. And I actually had an administrator on in a different district, and it posed a question I'll probably pose to my field hockey podcast audience next week about overtimes and draws. Cox had a tie this year. In fact, that tie took place back on September 22nd against Torrey Pines, known for golf as Torrey Pines. But they had a tie at 1-1 with them on September 22nd. But someone posed to me, the Beach District plays beyond regulation, huh? Because a lot of times in college field hockey, in fact, college soccer is the case. I had a draw just the other day with Old Dominion women's soccer on Sunday night against James Madison. But a lot of times they'll have draws until the postseason. You can end in a tie. But the Beach District continues to play on. It was triple OT where FC had 2 goals in the third overtime, although the final went as 1-0 with those shootout goals, I should say, by Claire Hitchings and Riley Brooks Booth. Parker Roll, what a job she did to get the shutout for FC, to keep Cox off the board. Even Norfolk Academy, who's ranked as high as number 1 in the country, couldn't keep Cox off the board, but FC got that done behind Parker Roll. And we will now see if Kempsville can have any type of success that replicates what FC did a couple days ago against this Cox attack that has so many weapons, as we watch now with the penalty corner to get us started for Cox. This is our first one of the contest. Rolling to her right, trying to slice one in there was none other than number 3 for the Falcons, Megan Spear, Dartmouth-bound Spear, as we mentioned. As we approach 9 minutes to go in this first quarter from the training center. Going to see who will draw first blood in this game. Kempsville was also in action in the Ring of Honor tournament this past week here at the training center. They took on Washington Liberty on Saturday. Actually fell in that matchup. Washington Liberty had a double dip that day. They lost to Gloucester 6-0 here at the training center. And then they turned around and beat the Chiefs. As I try to locate that exact final score from last Saturday. You can go back and watch that game along with others that we had here on our Virginia Beach Sportsplex YouTube channel. In fact, that final score on Saturday was W and L, which used to be Washington and Lee, now Washington and Liberty out of Arlington, beating the Chiefs 4-1. So it was a quick turnaround for Amber Jones's team to respond from that 4-1 loss to double up Grassfield, a quality Class 6 school that hopes to make a run to the state tournament out of at Region A in Class 6 by a count of 2-1 on Monday night. That one's going to be scooped up by Emily Tromley for Cox, and then it heads out of play. You do wonder how much stamina is in the tank for Cox coming off that tough loss that they suffered just a couple days ago to FC. Went longer than 60 minutes, longer than one overtime, more than 2 overtimes. Jumping in front of that is Joey Savino. Kempsville coming right back, though. Hanging in there very well against this Falcons attack. So we mentioned the Falcons at 8-3-1. Cox has the record for consecutive victories when they won 69 in a row from 1993 to 1996. Tab out of the Bay Rivers District is threatening that mark. 59 straight wins for Wendy Wilson's team going into Tuesday, and then they got the 60th straight win when they beat Ward Hill 6-0. They've got Pocosin and Cape Henry left in the regular season docket, but if Tab, which is playing in the Class 3 bracket, can run the table here, we could be talking about them threatening that streak come early next season. Along the near sideline, Falcons working it with, I believe that's Reagan Cho. Although that sunlight is not giving me a great view of the jersey numbers. It's getting in the way there. Nice job there for Bella, number 17 for Cox, as Terry was able to show her alertness. Savino tries to send one through the back of the cage, but Kempsville dodges another bullet here. Longer this goes without a score, the Chiefs have to feel pretty good about it hanging in there against this Cox attack, which has certainly handled most Beach District competition with shutouts of 15-0 over Green Run, 13-0 over Tallwood and Lancetown, 10-0 over Bayside, and 6-0 over the likes of Salem and Princess Anne, who has been in our field hockey top 10 the last couple of weeks. Coach Don Warner's team led by the Richmond commit and Sarah Ellis, and the JMU pledge and Cindy Requini, as they have been some major factors. The only teams to score on the Falcons in the Beach so far this year would be Ocean Lakes and FC. And FC is the only one that did it after regulation. So we see Sophia Birch for Cox. Now working the sideline here in line, and it's going to be Kempsville coming up with another stop there. Doing a really good job here so far in this matchup. A little over 4 minutes to go in this first period. Still scoreless. We'll see if Cox can break this ice here and put one through. Kempsville's been pretty methodical out of the gate here. Going on the other field here at the training center right now, we've got Tallwood and Green Run squaring off against one another. Cox is getting closer to getting a goal here, and they'll draw a second penalty corner of our first period. So we'll see who will be the target they try to get involved. Falcons, little dump off with Spear, and then it's going to be a goal that is scored behind the left side. We'll see who that was on the goal. We'll try to watch that back, as I could not tell with the number and where we're angled at. Looked to me like it could have been possibly Irma Bailey. Well, 3:21, Cox is going to get the first goal here coming off that penalty corner. As you could tell, it's just a matter of time before they struck and did some damage here. Looked like that might have been an assist for Spear as well. Cox is on the move again here. We take under 3 minutes to go in the first quarter. Do apologize, folks. I'm having a hard time figuring out who that goal was scored by for Cox. So we'll try to give that to you as we get to halftime. But right now, we can tell you it was a 1-0 lead established by the Falcons, who are looking for more here. Oh, a little bit of a bump there as Kempsville was able to close down the window. And now nearing 2 minutes to go in this first period, which has come to an end. In the Tallwood Green Run game, adjacent to this one. And they're off balance. They're going to say that one was deflected. So no goal for Megan Spear. And that was number 3 who was trying to slice one through. Pass near side is going to be picked for Cox with Emily Tromley. And now the Falcons will draw another penalty corner as they got it to Tromley just feet away from the goal. Another opportunity, but Joey Savino's shot was wide of the net as we tick under a minute to go in this first quarter. We told you about Vault Athletics and Fitness, and also a chance to tell you about another one of our sponsors here at the Plex, and that's Zoup Eatery, where you can build the perfect boxed lunch, a customizable and individually packaged meal for your convenience. Choose from any of the wide variety of soups, fresh salads, made-to-order sandwiches, all served with a hunk of bread and dessert. There's something for the whole crew when you stop in at Zoup Eatery. You'll hear from Zoup when we get ready for our 2-minute end-of-quarter break. Right now, though, another penalty corner. This, I believe, is the 4th one of the period for Cox as we've hit under 25 seconds to go in the quarter. Falcons want to make sure they get a top 2 seed in Region 5A. If you fall below that 3 line, you might end up drawing First Colonial in a rematch in the semifinals, and those two could see each other in the States and the region final. Off the rebound, Cox trying to keep possession here, and nearly sliced one in, and that looked like it just about went through, but it does look like they're going to say it did not. So end of 1 quarter of play, Cox and Kempsville. It's still scoreless here at the regional, 1 score in this matchup. Cox got that goal with 3:21 to go in our first quarter. So we'll see if the Chiefs can even it up in the second period or if Cox will quickly expand that lead, which they are often known to do here. We'll take a timeout and hear from Zoup as well as Vault, and then get you set for the second period right here from the RTC in Virginia Beach. Getting ready for the second quarter here at the Regional Training Center in Virginia Beach, where Cox has a 1-0 lead on the Kempsville Chiefs. Over on Field 2. Field 1's got Tallwood and Green Run going toe-to-toe. And coming into this matchup, as we mentioned, Cox with a record of 8-3-1. Kempsville unofficially at 7-2. Their blemishes on the year to the likes of, 7-3. I think I said 7-2 earlier. They are 7-3 as Kempsville. As we can tell you, they did suffer a loss to Washington Liberty. Kellum 7-1 in a game we brought you back here on September the 12th. And Princess Anne, who blanked them 3-0 back on September 21st. They were riding a nice little win streak before the Washington and Liberty setback on Saturday, and then got back on the winning track with the win over Grassfield. Chiefs working the far sideline. And that one's going to roll out of play. 4-0 win for Kempsville back on October 4th against Kickingham in an out-of-district matchup. Cameron Butler had 2 goals that day. Carly Edwards and Brooke Rediger also scoring in that contest. Last win for Cox came over Lansdowne 13-0 a week ago, as they got the Mercy Rule shutout victory, if you will. And Joey Savino had a hat trick in that game along with 2 assists. She's been a factor already in this one. Natalie Booth and Sophia Birch also with 2 goals apiece and an assist. Lena Harkin and Megan Spear scored twice. Irma Bailey had a goal and 2 assists, and Ava Amuel also scored. As it was a collective effort in that shutout for Cox. And Isabel Pardo with 7 shutouts this year. And really, you could have said 8. She pretty much kept FC off the board for beyond the 60 minutes of regulation and 2 overtime periods, as the Liberty commit has been just rock solid all year long. And they responded with those shutout wins over Lansdowne and Tallwood following the 5-1 loss to Norfolk Academy, where Norfolk Academy got 2 goals less than basically 35 seconds apart in the final 2 minutes of the half to break what was a scoreless battle there. And if not for the penalty corner at the 3:21 mark of our first frame, this would be a scoreless battle. Cox had 4 corners in that first period. Getting by the defender relatively easy there was the Falcons. Look like that is a number 5. We'll double check that. And then she lost handle of possession. Does look like that was Irma Bailey. And a corner is drawn by Cox there. A good job of skating by the defense and forcing the penalty. Doing a nice job of advancing. See if Cox can get one of those drag flicks on this penalty corner. Sophia Birch set to put it into play. Looks like that's speared over to Savino. Has it deflected. Good job there for Kempsville with number 17 and Megan Fentner. Back come the Falcons, though. Continuing to apply pressure. And it looks like that was scored. I believe that was by number 14, Adelie Booth. Can't say it with 100% certainty, but in that scrum, it looked like Adelie Booth got the goal at the 11:04 mark here to make it 2-0 for Cox, if that was indeed number 14. And if someone's watching on our chat and saw otherwise, they could certainly post to us. But it did look like 14 on that. We'll watch the replay just to be sure. Looked like she was the one deepest there to the net. So Cox getting a little bit of a cushion now with a 2-goal lead. And you have the hunch that they're not done staying on the attack. Good feed up ahead. And then on the ricochet, it's back in Savino's pocket and hands. And now we see Lena Harkin getting over to it off the deflect. Haven't seen too many of those sweep and hits that they're used to getting. I see one of the Kempsville players clapping. So this could be a break for the Chiefs. Substitution now as we watch number 18 run onto the pitch. And that is none other than Maddie Acosta. So Kempsville gets possession as the clock stops at 10:36. Cox quickly gets possession back. As you watch Sophia Birch get in the fray there. An all-state performer a season ago. Could be well on her way to getting that recognition yet again here in 2023. Megan Spear had the lone goal in that loss to Norfolk Academy 5-1 a few weeks back, where Lizzie Adams had the hat trick. Closing in on 9 minutes to go in this first half. We mentioned, of course, for Cox, Sophia Birch. Last year, Megan Spear had 24 goals and 23 assists. Also had 3 goal line saves. Big key to their 2-0 win over Nansemond River in the Class 5 state title game last year. Another penalty corner coming up for the Falcons. So we've ticked under 8:50 to go in the half. Put this one out all the way to 25, and now Cox gets a little deep. But Kempsville coming up with another good stop. Brooke Rediger was tossed her way. Nearing 7.5 minutes to go in our first half. Here comes another penalty corner for Birch and the Falcons. Trying to get it back into the entry feeder and Birch. And then another penalty corner coming up for Cox. You watch the combination of Spear and Birch work together there. Birch wearing 2, Spear wearing 3. Now it looks like McDare is going to be the one that inserts this here from the opposite side. And that's going to be scooped in. What a job off the turf and dumped into the high corner area by number 3 for Cox off the penalty corner, Megan Spear. That was a highlight reel, textbook goal. I think she got that feed from Birch, in fact. 2-0. That's fundamental hockey right there. And good work for the Falcons. Dished it back over, Spear to Birch, and then it was Birch back to Spear as they really worked well together in tandem on that play. Kempsville with one of its rare opportunities in Cox territory. We'll see Isabel Pardo. She wasn't taking a nap back there, but she has to get the eyes wide awake here as here comes Kempsville in her direction. Double team comes and Cox gets possession back so Pardo can go back to sitting back there with ease. Now here comes the Falcons. Swinging field position in a hurry. Nice maneuver there from Irma Bailey, who dumps it off and almost off the hop. Cox stays right after it. Nearly put one through. That was a beautiful play with Birch and Spear working together. The two all-state talents on this team that really key their attack. And those two get to work together on sequences like that. It's almost automatic, you feel. Probably very confident from the sideline watching as Coach Taylor Roundtree and her staff. Really curious to see how they respond to the defeat at the hands of FC. You know, people will certainly make a big deal about it because they have not lost a district game in a while. But if they see them again in a rematch in the region finals and possibly the state semifinals, and the way they bracketed, I think they could run into each other in the state finals, actually. I don't think Cox will be too discouraged about taking that 1L. Here's another penalty corner, the 8th of the half, 4th of the period for the Falcons as Birch will trot out there. Savino got it on the feet, and that one was wide of the net. Really comfortable day of weather here at the training center on this 12th day of October, 19 days before Halloween. Well, the kiddies will be doing the trick-or-treating, spooky costumes. I would really get cute and fancy out there to ask our viewers out there what's your favorite candy and get the chat and conversation going. I'm not one that has as much candy as I used to. But I will tell you, I found a hidden stash in my house of Skittles, and I have hit that the last couple of days. So keep the Skittles away from me. I know they'll rot your teeth, all this candy will for the kids out there. Some like the Starburst, some like the Snickers, the Milky Way, the Three Musketeers. Used to be a big Three Musketeers fan in my day. And if you want to keep the kids from bouncing off the walls, hide the Reese's peanut butter cups. Speaking of bouncing, that's going to take a bounce away from the Falcons and the Chiefs. Trying to chase that one down was Morgan Fettner of Kempsville. Under 3.5 minutes to go in our first half. Falcons looking good here on this turf. Savino with the pass along the baseline area. Trying to proceed forward. That was Emily Tromley. As we mentioned on this turf, AstroTurf, one of our supporters of youth activities here at the Plex and Regional Training Center. Since 1965, the AstroTurf brand has been driven by forward-thinking ingenuity, and today, AstroTurf continues to improve its system design to deliver playing surfaces with the most realistic sport-specific performance, longest-lasting durability, plus sound player protection. AstroTurf. AstroTurf.com. You can find out more. The icon that invented the industry. Learn about the Root 3D Zone Series when you go on the website. You do some reading up on that. And they have gear, too, that you can get when you go to astroturf.com. How about that? I'm just 4 wins away from buying some gear of a different kind to go with my 3 different Diamondbacks hats I wore on today's football podcast. I wore the black, I wore the purple, and I wore the, I guess you could call it Sedona red, since the technical colors of my baseball team I'm talking about here with a minute and a half to go in this field hockey matchup are Sedona red, Sonoran sand, black, teal, and white. Really not technically any purple anymore, although that's one of the old throwbacks when they were an expansion team in '98. Oh, look at that. Little sweeping move. We had not seen that from Cox yet in the half. Trying to get a little sweeping hit. Love those sweeping hits and tomahawks when you have the reverse shot. Player turns the stick upside down, swings it. Those are beauts to watch. No question about it. As you see the Kempsville coaches, including Amber Jones, having to shield themselves from the sun that is right directly in their eyes. You get those shadows. Makes it hard sometimes to see. Not only affects the baseball players in the postseason when they're playing like the Astros and Twins a couple days ago, but it impacts these field hockey players too. Here's Cox along the near sideline with number 6. That's Ava Amuel. I mentioned her scoring the other day against Lansdowne. So we're closing in on a halftime. Falcons trying to get one more insurance goal here to give them extra breathing room. And they almost got it there. Inside that shooter circle. We've hit the half. A couple of goals for Cox. Annalie Booth has one. So too does Megan Spear off a penalty corner feed from Sophia Birch. Give and go teamwork there. And it's a 3-0 halftime lead for Tedder Roundtree's team. Looking for that 9th W. We'll step aside with this 5-minute break and hear from a variety of our sponsors, from Vlac and Vault to AstroTurf, CHKD, and many, many more here on BeachSportsplex.com, on our YouTube channel, and all over the web.
After more than 50 years of innovation, AstroTurf still leads the way. The inventor of artificial turf does it all, right here in the USA. We engineer, test, manufacture, and install the world's most innovative fibers and turf technologies, with over 30,000 tracks and fields worldwide. AstroTurf, powered by Sport Group.
At CHKD, sports medicine is more than just treating injuries. It's a whole team approach to caring for young athletes. With experienced physicians, surgeons, trainers, and rehab specialists here when kids and teens need them most. Our experts help young athletes prevent injuries too, with advanced training and conditioning programs that keep them in the game safely. CHKD Sports Medicine, where kids are more than patients and we're more than a hospital.
revitalize your property today. Shine Time is your turnkey solution for all power washing and painting projects. With years of experience in both residential and large-scale commercial settings, their focus is to bring new life to your home, building, or outdoor space and ensure 100% customer satisfaction every time. Shine Time Power Wash.
Okay, who here has reached peak fall?
Peak what?
Peak fall!
I am wearing plaid.
And I'm wearing a cardigan.
I guess I am eating snickerdoodle cookie dough.
And I am eating a pumpkin pie blizzard.
The new DQ Fall Blizzard menu has reached peak fall. Pumpkin pie, snickerdoodle cookie dough, and more. They are back!
I just love fall.
Apparently we all do.
Oh, they did it! Peak fall achieved! DQ, happy tastes good.
Snickerdoodle cookie dough. Oh, go try it at Dairy Queen. If you haven't, I heard it's the bomb. Do the kids still say it's the bomb? I don't know. It's good stuff, I know that much. Grill and chill, fan food, not fast food, with our pals at Dairy Queen, where they have all kinds of sweet treats like M&M's cookie dough, Reese's Oreo fudge brownie, and that Snickerdoodle cookie dough that we just hit on. They thank you for being fans all these years. Here's to many more. Grill and chill with Dairy Queen. And they're on the web at dq.com. If you hit dq.com, it gives you the official URL to dairyqueen.com. You get the chicken strip and fry rings basket. I love when I'm watching some of these ball games late at night, which I do, and I see the same exact commercials on the TV, like this one. Sometimes we flash up on our podcast the Damian Lillard Gatorade commercial. Speaking of Gatorade, so I just did that. All these athletes staying hydrated with Gatorade, another one of our proud sponsors at the Training Center and the Sportsplex. They help us bring you this coverage of high school sports and local sports across the 757 here. We've got a live football game for you coming up on Friday night with Atlantic Shores and Blue Ridge. And right now you're watching the Cox Falcons in control 3-0 against the Kempsville Chiefs. Kempsville coming in at 7-3 overall. Cox fresh off a triple OT heartbreaker against their backyard rival in First Colonial, which, if I'm a betting man, I have a sneaky suspicion they're going to see each other again. I think Tallwood might have just scored a goal or drawn a penalty corner in field one right next to this game. And right now, the Falcons in the white unis. Hopefully we'll get some Zoom action for you here in a second so I can tell you who is about to potentially score for them, as they are close to striking, and I think they did just get one. Nope, they came close to getting that one to the back of the net. I think this is going to be a penalty corner, our first of the half. They had 8 in the first half, 4 in each quarter, the first period and the second period. Good chance you will see an interview with a standout player and or coach from this game right now. Ted Roundtree's team in command 3-0. A lot of people loved the interview we had last week, or this past week on the podcast. Got some good feedback from as we watched the Falcons on the move again. Looks like that was Number 14, Adelie Booth. We've called her name out a lot. She's one of those players getting better and better for them. They have the standouts like Sophia Birch and Megan Spear, who worked so well together in that penalty corner, and Joey Savino. But they've got some others that are stepping up, and I think will be factors come playoff time. You definitely can't write Cox off, even with that loss to FC, as there's a takedown. As going down to the turf. Might have drawn a card there. I think that wasn't Mac Dare. I can't tell. The number was squinched up from where we're viewing. And I think a card was handed out to a Kempsville player who's now on the sideline in some frustration. Might have got Carly Edwards, who had that goal in one of their recent wins here. But what I was saying was a lot of people like the interviews we did with Grace Dixon of First Colonial and Coach Megan Smart, who played at Old Dominion and Appalachian State last week. Thanks to our man James Timmons, the camera guy, for helping us out with that. And right there in front of you saw the legendary Beth Anders right there. We have so many great background items here. If you've never been to the training center in the Sportsplex, you're missing out, folks. So many great things here when it comes to soccer and field hockey and football and lacrosse, as we'll be diving straight from the fall sports to the winter sports before you know it, and then springtime will be here. It goes by so quickly. So here is another penalty corner for the Falcons. It's their second of the half. I had someone that was watching texted, by the way, a buddy of mine. I mean, he must have, I would say he'd be bored, but he actually texted his favorite candy. This was a really good one. He said Butterfinger. Have not had those in a long time. I always think of Bart Simpson from The Simpsons when people say Butterfinger. That's what I always do. So yeah, we bring up candy and everybody gets excited. It's that time of year here, Halloween. I might have to ask that if we interview a player. Halloween's coming up. What's your favorite candy? I love throwing that to the kids, rapid fire style. Holidays, some will pick Halloween over Christmas and Thanksgiving. I love the family gathering of Thanksgiving and the meaning for Christmas, and Easter is a popular pick as well. But you get all kinds of different answers from the kids when you ask them what your favorite candy is. Cox getting closer to the net with under 10 minutes to go in this third quarter. And I think now able to check back in is Edwards as the official gives her the signal. And sometimes, keeping the composure can be difficult when you're struggling and you're trailing in a game. But I'm sure Amber Jones knows her team can be heard from us. I'll be curious to see if any power ratings get released and into my hands. Hopefully a coach out there that watches our broadcast, our podcast, will get me those power ratings. We get them a lot for football, which the Virginia High School League puts out regularly every week. I wish there was enough manpower and folks that did it for every sport, not just football, but did it for volleyball, did it for field hockey, for soccer, basketball. Sometimes get a lot of those from coaches. And coaches ask me to crunch them. I wish I had enough time in the day. You'd have to give me like 8 days to fit it into one day to crunch all these power ratings for them, calculate it. A lot of the student activity coordinators, the athletic directors, are tasked with that, having to do that. But anyways, with all my babble, that could give the fans out there who are often left in the dark about who's going to play who or who could possibly play who in whatever sport, whether it's field hockey, football, basketball, soccer, softball, baseball, you name it. Closing in on the postseason, it gives them a great little idea who they could see. Penalty corner and good little teamwork there from the Falcons. And it is a struggle for it. And I don't believe they got it in. It came close. They're actually going to give a penalty stroke here for Cox with 8:28 to go in our third quarter. It's our first penalty stroke we've seen today, and probably just the second or third that I've had on a broadcast this season. I think we had one in a Princess Anne game about a week or two ago. And the Falcons got that one in with ease. We'll see if we can follow that number of who scored the goal. Give it to you in a second. I'm looking for it here. Hopefully we can get some zoom action. I think that was number 4, Irma Bailey, but I'm not 100% positive. I think that was Bailey. But Cox adds to its lead at 4-0 now. Chiefs have that pass deflected. Trying to get Natalie Cornstable in on the action here. Cameron Butler here. Going airborne with this chip. Takes a hop, and now Cox getting it. A lot of different weapons for them. As we take under 7.5 minutes to go in this third quarter. On the far sideline, Kempsville trying to see if they can put some pressure on the Falcons here, trailing by 4. Early goal for the Falcons with 3 minutes to go in the first period. Adelie Booth added to that lead in the second quarter. Penalty corner combination with Spear and Birch working in tandem. Sophia Birch finding the Dartmouth-bound Megan Spear. And then here in the third, the Falcons scoring off a penalty stroke. Tell you what, it has been a fast-moving game on the game next to the one with Tallwood and Green Run. I think they have reached the end of 3 quarters, and we've still got 6 minutes to go in our third quarter here. I don't know if their clock is accelerated or if ours has been decelerated. But anyhow, we've got Kempsville with 6 minutes to go in this period getting their first penalty corner of the game. And we'll see if the Chiefs can get this to pay off with a breakthrough here against Pardo, who has not given up a goal in the Beach District in regulation outside of the 6-1 win over Ocean Lakes. She's been almost, her score sheet, close to perfect. Falcons quickly swing it back the other way. As they were able to roll with Adelie Booth and change up the field position in a hurry, which they do so frequently. Looks like a couple new substitutes coming in for both sides. If you missed our latest field hockey top 10 Hatfield rankings we do on our podcast, well, we have to encourage you to go back and watch, as well as the Il Giardino Chicken Parm Player of the Week that we present. A young lady from Norfolk Academy got it this past week. Could be someone from the Beach District, possibly next week. We shall see. But 1 through 10 this week in our rankings was Norfolk Academy, then Cox. First Colonial was third. Have a sneaky hunch they could leapfrog the Falcons after that decision that took place earlier this week. And in fact, the Patriots moved up from last week. They were 4th last week. Tab was 4th last week. They were 5th last week. They moved up to 4th. Still unbeaten at 14-0. Gloucester dropped to 5th. Had a nice win in the Ring of Honor over Washington Liberty and blanked Grassfield. But they fell to St. Catherine's, who Tab had beaten. So 1 through 5 was Norfolk Academy, Cox, FC, Tab, Gloucester. Probably have a little switch with 2 and 3 next week. And then 6 through 10 was Nansemond River, Poquoson, Princess Anne, Great Bridge, and Catholic. Grassfield and Morey dropped out from last week. And a couple of teams knocking on that door on the honorable mention side with Minchville and Western Branch. And there's some others lurking in the background that could jump in with some games coming up this week. Now, there's a big battle coming up on Friday with Norfolk Academy and Collegiate. They're hosting them. And then right here at the RTC, you got Princess Anne and Great Bridge. So all kinds of good action taking place all the time here at the training center. Under 3 minutes to go in the third quarter. Substitution as we watch Cox check out number 14 and check in number 9. So if you're scoring at home, and there are a few people that do that still. Adley Booth going out and Reagan Cho coming in. I feel like a baseball broadcaster when I say if you're scoring at home with the. I used to be one of those kids that would listen to their transistor radio and had the scorebook. I actually didn't just have the scorebook. I said scorebook. The scorebook next to me. I would do that in front of the television set watching games. Did that with basketball too. And then once I realized they start doing it on the computer and they keep all these stats, I'm like, what am I doing wasting my time? I think I got to my teenage years and just said, I'm doing something that can be done on the internet that official stat keepers do, and it's wasting some of my time. Still watch the games, though, and still love it. But every child has their way of growing up and finding the love for sports. And for these young ladies, I know they're getting excited for the playoffs that are right around the corner for field hockey. VHSL's website at vhsl.org can tell you more about all those specific dates and times and locations, especially when the playoff brackets get released for all the field hockey or fall sports such as field hockey and football and volleyball and golf. But some key dates to note, though. November 7th is the state quarterfinals. November 10th, the state semifinals at Ocean Lakes and Kellum High School right here in Virginia Beach. And November 11th is the state finals at Kellum High here in Virginia Beach. The regionals will begin October 25th, 13 days from now. So it is literally going to hit us right in the face before we know it. And all the regionals must be completed by November 4th. That's the deadline that the VHSL gives you. We'll tell you some of the state tournament formats in a second. They have a little tab for this. It's an 8-team single elimination tournament unless the region is determined in another format. Seedings and pairs determined by each region. And we'll give you some details about these two schools where they're competing in. They're competing both in Class 5 Region A, which is pretty much the same across the board. Now, Class 4 Region A, B, C, and D are a little different than what the traditional VHSL outlines are, and the same goes for classes 1 through 3. They have in Region A and B that have been combined. But as far as the Beach District schools go, all of them are in Region 5A with the exception of Lansdowne, who's in Region 6A. Region 5A is a 14-team region with those 10 beach schools and 4 Chesapeake schools. I'll tell you about them as we get ready for our fourth quarter, as well as the upcoming games left on the regular season schedule for both Cox and Kempsville. But we head to the fourth with the Falcons leading it by a count of 2-0. Let's hear from a sponsor we've not heard from yet in this broadcast, and that's Chicho's Pizza.
Everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. And if you're like me, you need help. Help to keep that donation as small as possible. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
At CHKD, sports medicine is more than just treating injuries. It's a whole team approach to caring for young athletes. With experienced physicians, surgeons, trainers, and rehab specialists here when kids and teens need them most. Our experts help young athletes prevent injuries too, with advanced training and conditioning programs that keep them in the game safely. CHKD Sports Medicine, where kids are more than patients and we're more than a hospital.
Log on to chkd.org for more about the Children's Hospital of the King's Daughters, one of our proud sponsors of action here at the Regional Training Center and the Virginia Beach Sportsplex. They've got info on the Hope on Wheels. They've got info on robotic-assisted surgery and all kinds of great things. The Children's Pavilion being recognized, and World's Best Hospitals by Newsweek. They were tabbed in 2022. Health, healing, and hope for all children. All right, we're ready for the fourth period where Cox is up by a score of 4-0 with under 15 minutes to go in regulation play. Kempsville with one penalty corner. Cox has got 11 in this game, plus a penalty stroke they scored on in our third period. And there's the second penalty corner of the game for Kempsville. You see how excited their sideline was as they're going to try to get on the board here against the Falcons, which only one team in the Beach has done all year regulation-wise, and that was Ocean Lakes. You thought I was saying one team, First Colonial. Well, First Colonial did it in the overtime and got the W with that thrilling win in the shootout. I think they had a party at the Timmons' house that night. That's what someone told me. The proud FC grad was jumping for joy. And if you've seen him jump, I'll tell you what, that's a sight to behold. Nonetheless, as First Colonial stays hot, Cox is trying to get another winning streak started up here. And looking for, on that far side, looking for number 2, Sophia Birch, who's right there in your picture. You see on the near side, number 7 for the Falcons. And that is, of course, Rose Holland. Kempsville with a good tackle there defensively to get possession. Now can they maintain it here and move out of their own attacking third area? A lot easier said than done as we see Cox staying extremely aggressive. No let up in their game and their play here today. With under 13 minutes to go in regulation, Cox trying to proceed forward here and get another scoring chance created. We watch Emily Tromley. And Kempsville with Aaron Sutton now. Looking to go airborne, but Cox ready for it with Sophia Birch. Birch makes the nice little soft pass. Close to the net. And that one's going to roll out of play here with 12 minutes to go in our contest. Gives us a chance to tell you about another one of our sponsors at the Plex, and that is, as well as at the Regional Training Center, with our good friends HSP, Hometown Sports Productions. Tropical Smoothie Cafe, we thank them for being on board, where you can eat better, feel better. They're bursting with fresh flavors. They offer grab-and-go catering and box lunches. Tropical Smoothie Cafe on Princess Anne Road. It's right across the street from Tidewater Community College. If you haven't been there, my recommendation is the Jetty Punch. That's what I go with. The Jetty Punch. It's been my go-to when I've been on road trips with the ODU women's basketball team. It's a frequent stop of ours on the road. A little over 11 minutes to go. Looks like another corner is being rewarded here. And this will be the first of our final stanza for the Gals in White, the reigning 5-time state champions, 24-time VHSL state champion Frank W. Cox Falcons. What a tradition and legacy they have going back to the days of Nancy Folks, and then carried on with Taylor Roundtree, who played for this decorated program and now coaching. Shifting from left to right and back again. And that one takes a hop with 10:27 to go in our game, and it's scored. A little unconventional, but the Falcons take it nonetheless to make it 5-0, increasing their lead.
Here we go, ladies. Natalie, hold, be ready. To Natalie now. Good, Brooke, stay with.
I think there were early on, I'd be curious to see what Coach Roundtree has to say. It's maybe some early on tired legs from the FC game. And that's completely understandable when you play a marathon triple OT game like that. But I do also think when you're testing yourself all the time, like Norfolk Academy is doing, and Cox did with that Maxfield Hockey National Tournament where they both played in you got big-time schools from Texas, Pennsylvania, the Hill School out of New Jersey up in that event. As the Falcons are getting close to the net again to try to score. Going to draw a penalty corner now. For second of the period. I think it really gets you prepped for what you'll see in the postseason. It was a big-time invitational they played in that Maxfield Hockey Tournament that had just dozens of schools. If it was up in Pennsylvania. And of course, Cox and Norfolk Academy and Collegiate, top 3 schools in the Mid-Atlantic region, all from the state of Virginia. Then you get a Delaware school that was 4th. First Colonial was 7th in that Mid-Atlantic rankings back on September the 19th. Gloucester 9th, Trinity Episcopal 10th, Nansemond River 13th, Great Bridge 15th. A couple of Northern Virginia schools like Independence High School in Yorktown, as well as Fairfax from 16 through 18. So when you break it down and you encompass schools from the states of Maryland, Delaware, North Carolina, Virginia's got 11 of the top 20 schools in the Mid-Atlantic, according to Maxfield Hockey. It's pretty interesting to have that many, over 55%, when you're bringing in states like Maryland and Delaware and North Carolina in the mix. Even Poquoson and Stafford high schools were honorable mention at that time. Just a little less than a month ago, those rankings were done. Competition breeds that type of success these programs have. As we near 7 minutes to go in this matchup, as promised, tell you about those regions and the schedules for these two schools. They're both in Region 5A, which is the entire Beach District, save Lansdowne. So you've got Bayside, Cox, First Colonial, Green Run, Kempsville, Kellam is now a part of that region, Ocean Lakes, Princess Anne, Salem, and Tallwood. And then you have 4 Chesapeake schools with Indian River, Great Bridge, who won 3 consecutive Class 4 state championships, Hickory, and Deep Creek, taking 8 to the playoffs, just like they do for football, out of the 14 schools in that region. And then for these teams coming up, as far as the schedules go, as we watch the Falcons get closer to the net. Looked like that was number 8, Lena Harkin. And here comes another penalty corner. 14th of the game by my count for the Falcons. And it's their 6th here of the second half. We'll give you those matchups in just a second that these two teams still have to play. Don't want to miss a potential goal here, as Cox is trying to get that 6th one on the board and pretty much secure themselves the dagger. Nifty pass. Can't put it through with number 11, Mac Dare, and then off the little rebound was Sophia Birch, number 2. Came close to putting it in the back of the cage. Cox has just, what I'm showing, one more regular season game left. And that is coming up on Tuesday against the Kellam Knights, if I'm seeing it right, according to what the Beach District site is posting. So that's it for them. And that'll close out the regular season for them. And it'll be playoff time. Here's Mac Dare and Lena Harkin working together. A lot of pep in the step there of number 8, Lena Harkin. As we've hit under 5 minutes to go. See if Kempsville can find Cornstable on the near side here. She's been open, but getting possession's the tricky part, A, and then B, maintaining and finding someone, also a real challenge. Another penalty corner going to be awarded to the Falcons here.
Clary, you're still stopping short, and you just continue to curl all the way out to the circle, please, okay? Here we go.
15th of this game. Swatted there by Megan Spear, and I think she's going to get credited with that goal. With 3:49 to go, as it took a hop off the post area, I believe, to make it 6-0. From this angle, that's who it looked like. Let's see if we can slow it down and get a better angle just to be sure. Might have to back it up about 15, 20 seconds. And I think that's going to do it for this contest. It has. But before we sign off, and they're going to get the handshake line, I want to tell you who Kempsville has quickly coming up on their schedule. They play First Colonial on Tuesday, Deep Creek a week from today, October 20th hosting Oscar Smith, and October 23rd against Region 5B foe Menchville from the Peninsula District. Great work out there today for these two squads. The Cox Falcons winning at 6-0 as they improve to 9-3-1. The Chiefs of Kempsville dropping to 7-4. We'll hear from a couple of our sponsors before we sign off, that being Zoup Eatery and Vault Athletics and Fitness. But for our entire team, from Chuck Thornton and Nick Senti to Garrett Jackson, Eli, and the whole gang, I'm Matt Hatfield saying thank you for watching here as you've watched field hockey action on our Virginia Beach Sportsplex YouTube channel. Like, share, and subscribe, and we'll talk to you next time from the RTC in the 757 home in Virginia Beach.